if you are creative and you have something to say, record it and let it into the universe. Because when you die, if you haven't let it out, it's going to die with you.
It stays in the grave.
Stays in the grave with you.
That's crazy. This is Fya Sidechats with your girl Fya and Mr. Craig T. Cooper over here. So we're just going to jump straight into this. First, I want to ask you, can you share a little bit about your background and your journey in music production? And how did you get started in music production? What is that about?
Wow. Okay, well, I was born and they locked me up as soon as I came out of the womb. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, whoa. It got deep real quick.
No, let me keep it real. But no.
Could you imagine?
Right? Can you imagine? It got cuffs that little. No, check this out. What's up is I was very fortunate. I came from a family of string musicians. Actually, I started cello when I was 5.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yeah, and my older brother, which is Ron Cooper, he was world famous. He was one of the top 10 cellos in the world when he passed away. Jaws,
what? That's crazy.
You know, that's Big Brother. And so I come from that.
Legends.
And so when you hear my tracks and you hear all these strings, you hear the inspiration. And he was on a lot of records. Well, anyway, I was inspired really by him and waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning and him practicing in the living room and, you know, all that stuff. Of course, I wanted to get into the music too and explore. It just so happens that my parents led me to the cello also, and me being a youngster and wanting to explore, I got into trumpet and violin and drums and just all this other stuff because I'm a little gangster kid, you know, just wanted to do a bunch of other stuff. So that's really where it all started. And so when I was a kid, youngster in my single digits, we're talking Oscar Peterson getting played on the turntable, Dave Brubeck getting played on the turntable, of course Motown, a lot of rock and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Because my oldest brother was drafted into the Army, and when he comes back, he's playing all this rock and roll. You know, so I have to say I got inspired by a whole bunch of genres of music, and it's done me well.
Man, I mean, that's
It's
evident.
done me well.
That's evident, just with your creative style.
It's done me well.
Look, I mean, I wish you guys could see all these gold plaques.
Oh, watch that now. Ain't nothing there. Ain't nothing on the wall. She's just kidding.
No, it's just
Yeah, but it's all good.
Yeah.
I've been very blessed. Very blessed.
That's so excellent. Just growing up with that musical family, that musical background that's really impacted you like that. And so kind of like here what we're talking about is basically defining what your creative producer mindset is and unlocking your creative producer mindset. I want you to kind of define that for you. Like, what is unlocking your creative producer mindset for you?
You know what? It's simple and deep at the same time. I vibe off of anything and everything. It could be as simple as an ant crawling on the floor, and it just speak to me, to airplane flying and just making a certain sound in the air. I mean, I can be, anything can like push my button, and I'll find a way to use it to my advantage.
Right.
And like I said, anything, any vibe. If I there's a thing called writer's block.
Oh yeah.
That when you don't feel that creative energy, you won't believe this, but I have a habit of catching the bus. I'll catch a city bus, sit in the back, and just vibe off of people.
Just to get inspiration?
And everybody's got a story. You know, some of the best conversations, I think, are silent conversations where a person doesn't have to say anything. And you just take your imagination and just vibe them. That's where I get it from.
Wow, so let's dive a little deep into that.
Come on now.
So we
the pool's deep. The pool is deep.
So cause like for real, that's crazy because I understand even kind of when I'm writing and stuff like that. I sometimes like I'll it's crazy too. Sometimes I'll be sleeping and I'll hear stuff in my sleep.
Yeah, come on.
I had to sleep with a recorder and I just wake up and be like, oh snap.
Oh,
let me remember.
That's interesting to sleep with your recorder.
Yeah, like right there on the bed, just so I could just like wait. Let me get up and like record that.
Yeah.
But going back to kind of like your inspiration and getting inspiration from like people on the bus, and you said sometimes like what they don't say. Like describe kind of what that means.
Well,
like,
you know, their body language, and their mannerism says a lot.
Right.
And if you're really paying attention, you'll get so much out of their stories without them even saying anything. You know.
So what do you when you say get stuff so much out of your stories? Is it kind of beats? Is it maybe lyrics? Is it like everything?
All the above? I promise you, it's all the above. And you know, you touched on something. You know, like going to bed with a recorder. I've got a studio at my bedside. So when I get that kind of energy, I go right to recording.
Go right to it.
Yeah, I go right to recording.
See, I wish I could discipline myself. I wake up and I will literally sing everything, like from the bass to the drums. Like right there on the thing.
Don't get me started. I got stories about if you're familiar with Steve Arrington. What's Steve? Way Out and weak at the knees, you know, all that stuff. Well, see, me and Steve used to record, and he was a Michael Jackson, you might say.
Right.
We have this little dictator with him doing all these beats and these sounds with his voice, recording over and over to make a track, and we would record it.
Yeah.
I've got so much history in those little dictators. It's crazy.
That is so cool.
And that's how you do it. You know, any way you can make it happen, you make it happen.
And even I feel like even kind of like just having that there and then kind of going back to it too can give you a different type of energy.
No doubt.
Like when you're like working on something in the moment, you have something, you're just like, okay, let me just put that on the back burner.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, you just come back to it and you're just like, wait a minute. This might be a little something that could actually help you out of like a roadblock that you might be having.
No doubt. I mean, this stuff, the stuff that I'm speaking of, is 35 years old now. I promise you, I can go back to it and get something new out of it.
Oh yeah, for
you know.
Sure. Look, so a tip: record.
Red button. Not the solo cups. Red button. That's what's up.
Man, that's so cool. Like, so yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah.
I want to also talk about like what kind of inspires your creative process and who are some like maybe producers or artists that's had a significant influence on your work. I know you were speaking about your brother, who's excellent.
Ooh.
I didn't even know that freaking legend.
Right on.
But like just like other people that maybe have inspired your style, the way you create.
Well, you know what? That's a deep list also.
Top
3. On guitar, you have the Ray Parker Jr., Wah Wah Watson. Those are my 2 straight up idols.
Love that.
And of course, that's why you see them on my wall.
Man, I wish y'all could see this wall. We're gonna have to put some B-roll. We're gonna put some B-roll this whole wall.
It's all good. And what's more of a blessing is I get to call these people my friends,
Right.
and I've worked with them, and they've even recorded on my records,
That's so
and
cool.
and that's like really dope.
Right.
You know, we're talking about a 15-year-old, 14-year-old guitar player getting started, listening to these icons, and now I get to work with them. God is good.
God is good all the time.
God is good.
So you mentioned people for like guitar, different things like that.
Yeah.
How about maybe some other influences, any artists or other producers, as it relates to kind of mapping out?
I get something out of all of them, from the
Right.
Jimmy Jams and Terry Lewis's to the Baby Faces and LA's and the Quincy Jones. You know, I get something from all of them, even the Tupacs, the Lil Waynes. You know, Lil Wayne is got to be one of my favorites.
Lil Wayne?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
He's got to be one of my favorites. And you know, a smooth jazz artist as myself, because I do smooth jazz also. Some of the haters would look at me crazy, you know, like, you like hip hop, all this. Hey,
Good music.
Your mind, if this is hard to explain. I'm not prejudiced with music.
Right.
That's what it is. I love all types of music. I get energy out of every type of music on the planet. So, therefore, anybody could speak to me, and I can learn how to accept anybody,
Right.
and understand anybody for that, you know, for that case. So that's really the best way to explain that. Yeah, I'm not prejudiced. The music, I'm not prejudiced.
I love that, but you actually bring up a good topic, because a lot of artists and producers, like you'll hear in the business, they'll be like, "Oh, find your niche." But what do you say to people who like are like you, who like, because I'm like that too, like who loves everything. If you hear like my EP, like you have a little bit of rock, which he also, you know, producing producer on, one of the producers on. You feel me? He did that, but like. Yeah, like on my album, you have like a little bit of rock, you'll have like some jazz. Like, what do you tell to the artists that are like just like that, who love to create everything, and people are saying, "Oh, find your niche." Like, what does that mean, and how can they navigate like finding a niche, however, still like being a creative person and loving all these various different genres?
You know what? There's a somewhat a fine line there, because you have, depending on what your situation is.
Right.
Let me put it like that. You could have a record company that's coaching you to go a certain direction, but that direction is not you.
Right.
That direction is like whack to you. I mean, you hear this kind of on a daily basis.
Yeah.
From certain artists. You know, you'll hear like a Mariah Carey say, "Oh, I hated that song," but it turned out to be a hit for her.
Right, exactly.
You know, so you have a side that will see you a certain way, and then when you become of certain status, you can do what you want to do.
Right. Okay.
You know, or you can come out the frying pan doing what you want to do.
You know, I mean, that was, I feel like a good example of this, Prince.
You know what I'm saying?
He came out.
But even Prince got booed in the beginning.
Yeah, well, yeah.
You know, so it was a process.
Right.
You know, but me personally, I say stay true to yourself.
Right.
What makes you happy is going to come out on tape. It's going to come out in your recording, and they'll be able to tell if it's real or not.
Right.
We have a habit, a natural habit of clinging on to something that feels real to us. It speaks to us the most.
Right.
I think, in my opinion.
That is
so
true.
If you just stay true to yourself and true to your craft, and let that come out on your recordings, I think it's an all-win situation.
That is so true, though. It's all about being authentic to yourself. Because,
Truly.
like, even as a performer, you can tell, like, I feel like every performer can tell. You can tell.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell. It's like when you weren't authentic to yourself, it just feels different.
Doubt. No
and when
doubt.
you have an authentic, like, recording or performance,
Yes.
like, it just feels different. Like, and
doubt.
you could tell that when you hear it, you're like, oh, yeah.
Exactly.
They're going to feel this. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, so
and that's how I feel.
There.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah. Most of my recordings, the guitars, the guitar parts, they're like one takes because I don't like to I might repair a couple of things, but for the most part the foundation is like a one take because I want it to feel real how I felt in that moment.
Right.
And so that's and I like that with vocalists also. You know, give me that. I'll prep you up and I'll push record and say let's go.
Then
and
just
we
do the thing.
might feel a couple of things might be need repair, but for the most part, the foundation, that first take.
Yeah.
Come on.
Typically, yeah, because it is like your voice is rejuvenated. You're finally just like feeling it in the moment.
Yeah.
And man, I'm gonna go back to the time
Yeah.
we were in the studio together.
Come on.
You were doing the song My Mind, man. He got on that guitar and did that thing.
I don't even remember.
No, I remember. I'll never forget it. Like my sister and I, we were sitting there like, this is crazy. One take.
You.
We were like, yeah, that's it.
I appreciate you. Much love. Much love.
Yeah, that's it.
That's how I like to roll. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a good way to kind of like, I guess, to just let other artists know to like just be authentic to yourself. That is so key. Cause
and
like,
let me clarify.
People can hear it too.
I don't remember what I did, but of course I remember the recording.
Oh yeah,
Let's clarify that. It's all good.
Man, I remember how you made me feel. Man, thank you.
Hot. All good. If you haven't heard it, go hear it. Yeah. All good. Got you. I got you.
Love this man.
Love you right back. And your family.
Yeah, before we get it, start drifting.
All good.
So
yeah.
I want to ask you, like, just on a different type of level, what would you consider to be like the 3 most important aspects of kind of music production and creating a song? And like the top 3 just for like people who are starting off, what they have to have.
Wow. Okay. That's a really good question.
Thank you. That's right.
And I'm going to see if I can nail this in my opinion. Of course. Somebody's going to have a little bit different. First, you have to have the will to want to do this. Let me explain that. The will to want to do this. I know people that are afraid of success.
Right.
They have the talent. They have the charisma. They got all the hit making elements.
Right.
But them theirself are their worst enemy, and they will sabotage their own project.
Wow. So what do you mean by that? Let's dive a little deeper into that, because I feel like that's something that we definitely.
Sometimes they don't even realize it.
That's crazy.
Sometimes they don't even realize it. And I'm just keeping it real.
No, it's true.
You have people that will go into the recording studio and not finish the recording.
Wow.
I have stuff on people that haven't finished their recording. The song's half done.
Wow.
Because they don't want to come back and finish.
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
But why? Why do you think that? What is the mindset behind that? What do you think?
I just said it. They are afraid of success and don't realize. They realize how much a successful project they will have. But there's a responsibility that comes with after that.
Right.
And they're not ready for it.
They're not ready for that responsibility.
They're not ready for that responsibility. So, and they'll sabotage their own and not realize it.
Right.
You know, it's like a subconscious thing. So, first you have to have the will to want to start and complete your project.
Right.
Because if it's not complete, there's
gonna
no project.
Do nothing. Waste of money, waste of resources, time.
Exactly.
That makes sense. Okay.
Second, you have to have the energy, the work. You have to put in the work, and that could come in the level of work. The measurement can vary. It could be effortless. Some things could take a lot of work. It depends on what you want to complete. So you have to have the stamina to complete your project. Third, you have to know when to say no.
Ooh,
and stop.
That right there, that's real.
Gotta know when
That
to say
right
no
there-
and stop.
That right there is real. Okay, let me
Yeah.
ask you,
Come on.
when do you know when to stop? Because that's a good one. Because sometimes you'll listen to a song and you'll be like, there's just a little, I could do a little bit.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
I know.
There's always something else you can do to something else.
Right.
Or I should say to something. There's always something. And so it's good to have, if you're not disciplined in saying stop, it's always good to have another person that you trust to listen to that says, okay, it's time to just stop and put this out.
Right.
Because again, you can go forever and
then just
and you could actually mess it up by going forever.
That's so true.
And to keep it real, I'm not tooting my own horn, but you're going to interview somebody else and they're not going to tell you what I just told you.
Right. No, it's true.
They're not going to tell you what I just told you.
Right.
We're not going to go there.
I'm
sorry.
No, you're No, but that's why
Yeah.
that's why we interviewing you
Yeah,
right now.
watch yourself.
So we
now.
can get
You better watch out.
So
Keep
we
it
can
real,
go ahead
y'all.
and get that. So we can go ahead and get that different perspective. You know what I
Keep
mean?
it real, y'all.
Because
Yeah.
exactly. So you're keeping it real. So you're letting people know
Yeah.
what other people aren't gonna
Exactly.
let you know.
And
That's so true. We need to hear when to stop.
come on now, and you got to remember also that your ears, your ears can get burnt out, but for the outsider, they've never heard it before.
Right.
So it's going to be new to them regardless.
Regardless. And then also we are our hardest critics.
No doubt.
Man, that's something I have to even
No doubt.
that's why I have to have my family around me. I have to have people
Yeah.
in the room that I trust
Yeah.
when I'm making music because
Yeah.
I am my hardest critic.
Yeah.
I mean,
but see, you have to work on not being.
right.
You have to work on being comfortable
Right.
and just trusting the vibe
Right.
and just trusting because I was there. I was once there.
Right.
Now you
You just be like, yeah.
I'm so comfortable. What's so funny is I was this had to be a couple of months ago. I did a recording a couple of years ago, and I finally heard it on the radio, and I didn't know what it was. I said, "Oh man, I was getting pissed." I said, "Oh, this guy's stealing my licks. Oh, this guy's playing like me. Oh my goodness. I wish I had a camera."
Wait a minute.
My
So
reaction was jacked. I was cussing him out. I was
cussing yourself out.
I was cussing him. And then at the end of the record, they say the artist's name, which I did not remember. They say the artist's name featuring Craig T. Cooper. I said, "Oh, that's me." Oh, it was hilarious.
Man.
But in the moment, I was pissed.
Yo, that's crazy.
So my point is, after you finish it, let it go.
Right.
Let it go.
Right.
Because if you hold on to it, it'll haunt you for the rest of your life.
Right.
And it could be damaging.
And then it also kind of makes you feel like, dang, what could have been if you don't have it.
And it could hold your creative juices.
It can.
If you hold on to that one vibe,
That makes
you
so
can't go
much
on to the
sense.
next vibe.
Because then it's like you're putting all your energy into
Come
this.
on now. Now we talking.
It's like if you start something else, you're like, wait, this might be good for that.
Exactly.
Let it go.
Exactly. And you have to remember your personality is your personality.
Right.
Your sound is your sound.
Right.
So they're going to recognize you no matter what you do, damn near.
Right.
So you have nothing to hold on to.
Right.
Let it go.
I love that. That was
Let it into the universe.
right.
The recording. I tell all my people this now, because I'm older. You know, there are a lot of things that my parents. No, I have to speak for my generation. There's a lot of things that your parents didn't teach you. They didn't teach you about death. A lot of times, you know,
true.
I'm having to learn about death the wrong way.
Yeah.
My friends are dying. You know,
Yeah.
not to get too deep into this, but the thing is, if you are creative and you have something to say, record it and let it into the universe. Because when you die, if you haven't let it out, it's gonna die with you.
It stays in the grave.
Stays in the grave with you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, my son. There's a few people that knows how to access my hard drives and the stuff that you haven't heard yet, and
Right.
they know how to get to it. But that everybody else is not like that.
Right.
Everybody else is like when you pass away, your information on your tapes and stuff like that, they go with you.
Man, that's crazy. Just to
Let it out. Let it
go.
release it.
Release it.
Release it.
Let it fly away.
Let it fly away. You know.
But it's crazy too, because I always say, like, your music is literally a part of you.
Come
Like,
on
that's
now.
literally your fingerprint.
No doubt.
Like, so it's like when you let it go, you're letting a piece of you out into the universe. So I
That's
see
right.
why you say that.
That's right.
Because then when you pass, you're still here.
That's right. Your legacy lives on
still here.
forever. We can discover something that was recorded in the 60s and the 50s,
Right.
and say, whoa, that's dope. But guess what? We would have never heard it for the first time if they didn't let it go.
Yo, this is
Yeah.
crazy. Great. Come
on now.
Man, this is so dope.
Come on now. Yeah,
So,
that's
like,
my opinion.
So
Yeah.
as we're talking about like this and your top 3 things in recording and letting stuff go, how do you then navigate maybe creative blocks that you might have? Like, I understand you were talking about you go to the bus and you kind of like different things. But when you're here in the moment and you're creating and you're just like, okay, I ain't got nothing left. Like, there's a creative block. How do you navigate through that? And do you have any strategies for kind of like reigniting kind of inspiration and staying motivated?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
It's a natural thing for me.
Okay.
If I hit a block, I let that block come. Because if I don't and I alter it in any kind of way, that means I'm forcing the situation.
And it's not authentic.
And it's not authentic.
Yeah. Okay, that's a different perspective. Like, I did not expect you to answer it that way. I didn't. So, but that's so then when you
I let
you
it
just
go. That means I'm burnt out or it just ain't here right now.
So then what does that mean? You just step away?
Step away. I'll go watch a movie or I might do nothing. And guess what usually happens? 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, ding, ding, something will chime in and I'll get up and attack it.
That's dope. So you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Step away.
Step away. Don't be afraid to step away.
And I feel like that goes back to what you said. Don't be afraid to just say no.
Yeah, exactly.
That's saying no to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, no, I'm not going to force this. Step away from the situation.
And don't get me wrong. I had to graduate into that.
Right.
Like all this other stuff. I wasn't always like this. The older I get, the wiser I get. Don't get me wrong. Again, I was doing this a long time ago. I was doing this in my 20s, but I started recording in my teens. So it was a process still to me to graduate to that.
Right.
So yeah, that I definitely recommend.
Well, they always say that a wise person learns from other people's mistakes and not their own.
Yeah.
So look, let's learn. But mistakes are honestly inevitable, especially when you're kind of in production.
Yeah.
And sometimes mistakes just end up making it even better.
I love mistakes. That's why, like when I'm rehearsing or recording somebody, I'll say, if you're going to make the mistake, commit to it, because the mistake is usually the magic of the song.
Think it's that time.